Please, members, indicate by raising your hands.
Chairperson, I just want to check in terms of item 7. Is it not a governance matter?
We can discuss it under governance, Mr. Mkhize. Item number 7, members, if you agree, we can discuss it on the closed session of the meeting under governance matters. Thank you very much. Members, are you happy then to approve to adopt the agenda with that change, that item number 7 be discussed in the closed session of the meeting? Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Stole. Thank you, Ms. Pongose. Your hand was up already. I also support that. Thank you very much, members. We then move on to the declaration of interest. The forms have been uploaded. If you can kindly remember to complete the forms and submit to Mr. Dlamini. Same with management. If you can kindly remember to complete the declaration forms. Is there any interest that members would like to declare verbally in this meeting by exception? By show of hands, if there is any. Right, if there's none, I would like to go. Mr. Mkhize?
No, I'm covered.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm going straight to item number 5, the Pipe Gas Stakeholder Engagement and Advocacy Plan. Please introduce the matter and take it as read, please, recognizing the challenges that members have in terms of time as well as the issues of connection. Ms. Makoda, who's introducing the stakeholder engagement and advocacy plan?
Good morning, Ms. Masetti and all the members. The submission will be introduced by Mr. Godora.
Ms. Makoda, please, you're delaying the meeting.
Yes, if it's not in the meeting, I will introduce the matter on his behalf. Chairperson, this is the advocacy and the stakeholder engagement plan for pipe gas. You will recall that as part of the APP, NERSA has included a project which is the NERSA Stakeholder Engagement and Advocacy Strategy. And this plan is relating to the pipe gas plan, which is feeding into that NERSA Stakeholder Engagement and the Advocacy Strategy. Chairperson, we are asking that the members approve this Stakeholder Engagement and Advocacy Plan. It's for a period of 5 years, and the plan is attached as Annexure A. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, members. The advocacy plan is here, and it is also aligned to the principles that were adopted by NERSA in terms of the overall advocacy and stakeholder engagement. And this is the plan now for the pipe gas division. Over to you, members, if you have any issues to raise on this plan, by show of hands. Mr. Mkhize?
Yes, Chairperson, I did send the email with the annotated pages for the submissions where I've got comments. If you can just check that. I'm not so sure. It seems like the stakeholder engagement plan, they were separated from advocates. Is it still the case or not? Just want to get the clarity. And also to highlight the issue of outcomes and not just the outputs or activities taken. It's important to say what effect did the activities or what effect the activities had. I think that is also an important thing, also from a point of view of being able to learn from that there be cross-pollination among the regulatory divisions. I would request that we have that kind of an arrangement, that when it comes to bodies consulted, that there be consultation amongst these divisions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkize. Advocate Stole.
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks to the presenter. Chair, I just thought that maybe rather than us saying it's for 5 years, maybe let's have a clause that states that it will be reviewed. It will be for 5 years, but reviewable as and when it's deemed necessary, because the industries that we regulate are evolving. So we don't want to really make that plan to be cast in stone, but it should be reviewable as and when it's necessary. That's the contribution that I wanted to make, but I do support what is being presented to the committee. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Advocate Stole. Ms. Magoda, I understand that Mr. Kotora is not in the meeting. I think there's a family issue. Can you please then respond and ask other team members to also come in here?
Thank you, Chairperson. I will respond based on the information that I have. If there is additional information that is required, we may have to provide written response and circulate the response to the members. I will start with the questions from Mr. Mkize. His first question was asking whether there is separation between advocacy and stakeholder engagements. Chairperson, yes, the intention is to separate the two. If you look at the summary of initiatives that are provided under paragraph 10, you will note that in terms of the stakeholder, the advocacy, those initiatives that are listed there, they are relating to advocacy. But in terms of the stakeholder engagement, we thought that we'll treat that as a separate plan which deals with the engagement with our stakeholders, such as the licensees and some of the potential applicants. But in terms of the advocacy itself, the intention is to make sure that we do initiatives such as the amendment of the Gas Act, the engagements with our IPP on the procurement of gas to power projects and all that. So where there is perhaps a mix of advocacy and stakeholder engagement, we'll try to separate that, but the intention is to separate. Chair, Mr. Mkize also provided an input that we should talk to the outcomes. We will definitely do that and also consult other departments just so to make sure that there is alignment. Chair, we have taken note of the CEO's input again to say we must include a clause that talks to the fact that this plan is reviewable and it's reviewable whenever it's necessary. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you very much for those responses. Members, if there is no further issues, I would like to then take the members to the recommendations on paragraph 14. The recommendations are that, Mr. Mkize?
Yeah, I say I'm covered. I just wanted to state that what I wanted was that let's be consistent in terms of the separation or the combination of the two, so to don't make it difficult for management, because I've seen that in the past, we find that something is presented and then we're saying it should be separated, it come again, it should be combined. So let's just maintain one stance and apply it across divisions. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that input it will be taken into consideration, because I'm not sure if now it has been separated. But it's a good point that you are raising, Mr. Mkize. I think the activities will also just that, because when you engage stakeholders and you with the advocacy functions, there might be some sort of what you call some overlapping areas. But it's important that we maintain the same approach across the divisions. Thank you for that. So members, on paragraph 14 are the recommendations. The recommendations are that the pipe gas subcommittee is requested to approve the stakeholder engagement and advocacy plan as attached in Annexure A, and that the team must make sure that the maintain the approach that is followed by all the divisions in terms of whether or not advocacy and engagements are supposed to be separated. And then the third issue is that this plan will be reviewed as and when it is necessary. That is another issue here that must be included. Members, by show of hands, if you then agree with that recommendation. Thank you, Advocate Stolle. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support Ms. Mpungose. Thank you, Ms. Mpungose. Thank you very much, members. We now move on to item number 6, which is the final assessment of the maximum price application by Egoli Gas. Please take the matter as read and introduce the key aspects of this application. Mr. Mkhize, I take it that this is a lingering hand. Please, Ms. Makota, can you please introduce the submission?
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, members. This report is for the final assessment of Egoli Gas's application for the maximum gas price of gas for the period 1 March 2023 to 28 February 2024. A final application was received on the 28th of August, and the application was prepared based on the cost plus approach. Table 4, Chair, on page 5 provides a summary of the application by Egoli Gas. Egoli Gas has requested that the maximum price of gas be adjusted on a quarterly basis in line with the acquisition cost of gas from its supplier. Tables 5, 6, and 7, Chair, provide a summary of NERSA's assessment of the application and the implementation of the quarterly adjustments in line with the acquisition cost of gas from the supplier of gas to Egoli Gas. NERSA's calculations of the cost of gas, trading costs, and the profit component shows that there is no difference between the tariff applied for by Egoli Gas and NERSA's calculations. This is shown in tables 5, 6, and 7 of the submission, Chair. The recommendations, Chair, are on page 14, on paragraph 14 on page 6. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, the application is before us. Any comments by show of hands, members? Okay, if no comments, members, I would like to take members then to the decision that is sought, and that is on paragraph, what page is it? Just want to go straight to the decision.
16.
Page 16, ma'am.
Oh, I see Mr. Mkhize's hand is up now. Mr. Mkhize?
Yes, thanks, Chairperson. Just wanted to highlight that in terms of the frequency of adjustment, what is the frequency at most? What could it be? That is just on page 2. And then in terms of the standard, isn't the standard to highlight in yellow and strike through on all that is confidential? If we can just please maintain same standard, it will help. And then on page 7, I just want to know, when is NERSA going to review the proxy companies list? And then again on page 7 in the table, I think it will help to increase the decimal places for the sake of indicating the difference, or put a note to talk to the rounding off challenges. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Ngobeni, please, can you respond quickly on those points raised by Mr. Mkhize?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think we note the areas that we need to improve on in terms of the consistency, where confidential information needs to be highlighted and striked through. I think that we will do that for the ER submission that follows us, and we note also the input in terms of increasing decimals and ensuring that we are able to see differences where they are in terms of the numbers. I think the standard, Chair, is that normally licensees normally used to apply for an annual price adjustment, but due to changes in the supplier and in how the supplier would be charging customers going forward, I think now they are going to be adjusting on a quarterly basis. So every 3 months, then the price of gas will be adjusted. So I think it's not something that has never been done previously, but it seems that the basis that at least it needs to be a quarterly adjustment, which will make customers be able to also do a bit of planning rather than having a price that adjusts every month. But the baseline is that at least it needs to be adjusted on a quarterly basis. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Mkhize, are you happy with those responses? Okay. If Mr. Mkhize, are you happy? Then I would like to take members to the recommendations on page. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. On page 16, that the pipe gas subcommittee is requested to recommend to the energy regulator to approve Egoli Gas's maximum price application as shown on table 13, which is the maximum price from April 2023 to 30 June. And all of those maximum prices from table 13, 14, 15 are showing adjustments on a quarterly basis. And you can see that the price varies, it comes down, and that is all based on the cost of gas. And that this adjustment will have 1 month lag in terms of its implementation. The prices that we see there at the maximum level, they exclude VAT, and also discounts are allowed, but they must be done in a manner that complies with Section 22, which is differential pricing. And then the decision of the energy regulator becomes effective for monitoring purposes on the date that the approval is made, and the licensee is required to apply for the next price 4 months before expiry. And lastly, the committee is requested to also recommend to the energy regulator the reasons for decision of this application. Members, by show of hand, if you agree with all of those decisions that are requested from the committee today. Thank you, Ms. Mpungose. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Stole. I also support. Thank you, members. We then move on to item number 8, the implementation plan for the assessment of the ROMCO Pty Ltd's amended tariff. Please introduce this application.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take the matter as read. This is the implementation plan for assessing ROMCO's amended tariff application for the period 1st July to 30 June. We're requesting the subcommittee to implement the subcommittee to note this implementation plan, as well as for this period. As well as to as you are aware, Chair, the ROMCO submitted the first application in 10 November. So in 18 November 2022, and that application was not approved by the regulator. And subsequently, on 10 November, ROMCO submitted an amended application, which was assessed for adequacy and was found to be complete. Now, Annexure A provides an implementation plan for assessing this the application. And what the implementation plan considers or considered is that in terms of the public dates, as well as the need to extend the consultation period given that the time now is December, so the consultation period has been extended to the end of January. This is to allow for proper stakeholder engagements and also for members that are coming that are currently on holiday to be able to have sufficient time to engage with the application. So also what is also important in the time it's the timelines for assessing this application. That is also included in the plan. And also for ROMCO to charge relevant tariffs for the next financial year. Chair, what Table 1 provides a summary of all of this, and also the details are in Annexure A. So in number 14, we recommend that the PUB Gas Subcommittee notes this implementation plan. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any comments on the implementation plan? The preliminary assessment has not been brought before the committee. It will be considered via round robin, and this is also just to make sure that this amended tariff is processed efficiently, since it is the second time that ROMCO now is applying. So, members, do you have any comments, input on the indicative timelines that are on Table 1? Starting with Mr. Mkhize and then Advocate Stone.
Chairperson, I just want to check on what precedents are we using just for the presentation of a plan? Shouldn't it be part of the submission that deals with the preliminary assessment instead? Just want to understand, because once you've put this as a precedent, you might have to deal with a lot of submissions that I don't think necessarily they will add value in terms of the work of the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Stole.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chair, looking at Table 1, what is not clear, or maybe what we would have had to include, it's whether the plan is within the legislative timeframes. So that is not indicated, and for a reader to read it as it is, it makes it difficult to also get a sense that what is being proposed in terms of Table 1 as a plan, it will also keep us within the requirements of the time frame for processing this application. So if really it's missed, maybe it can be taken as a point of enhancement for that particular 4.10. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. Ms. Makota, may you please respond to Mr. Mkhize and Advocate Stole's questions?
Thank you, Chairperson. I will start with Mr. Mkhize's question. Mr. Mkhize, normally when we have big applications like this, we usually do the implementation plan, and we attach it as part of the preliminary, and at times it comes as a standalone submission. The reason why this particular one for ROMCO application came as a standalone submission is because we realized that we are still busy with the preliminary assessment, such that if we had to wait for we would not be able to meet the deadline for the submission. And because this type of application, we are always asked by stakeholders in terms of what is the processing time, we thought let us really send it on its own without the preliminary assessment. So it is not the first time that we are doing the implementation plan. We have done it in the past, either on its own and as part of the preliminary assessment. But however, this one we did it on its own simply because we're still busy with the preliminary assessment. And so we thought the members will be interested to know the timelines within which we are processing this application. We do have the round robin that we have prepared. It's finalized. It's ready for circulation. So perhaps we can also include this plan as part of the round robin submission. Regarding CEO's input on the legislative timeframe, CEO, it was an omission. It is an omission from our side. Thank you for the input. We will include the time, whether these timelines are within the APP requirements. In terms of the APP requirements, we are supposed to finalize the assessment of this application within 120 days after the publication. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. So just to indicate that we do not have statutory timelines on tariff applications. It's the self-imposed timelines, and those timelines are specified in the procedures that we developed, and also on the APP, which are also in line with the procedures, but we don't have in the statutory ones in the Gas Act. Okay, I think the input from Mr. Mkhize is that perhaps going forward, Ms. Magoda, if we could try just to limit the number of items to be considered by the committee, if we could have the implementation plan as part of the discussion document. I know that even in other divisions, electricity, for example, on applications that are sort of have some complexities, such as this ROMCO application that has a lot of issues and is coming for the second time, that implementation plan, as you correctly pointed out, sometimes it comes as a standalone document. But perhaps in the future, we can combine them or attach it on the so for noting, because it does also require also its own decision, and maybe for the round robin you can just attach it for information purposes. Thank you very much, members. If there are no further questions on this item, I would like to then take members to the recommendations, to the decision that is required, and that is on page 6, paragraph 14. The subcommittee is requested to note the implementation plan for the processing and the evaluation of ROMCO's amended tariff application. By show of hands, members, if you agree with that decision. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Advocate Stole, I also support. Ms. Mpongose. Thank you, Ms. Mpongose. Members, I appreciate the support there. We now move on, members, to item number 9, which is the report on the monitoring of Sasol Gas's compliance with the approved maximum price. Please take the submission as read and highlight areas of compliance and the extent of compliance.
Thank you, Chair. This is a report that we do annually for where we monitor Sasol Gas's compliance with the approved maximum price of gas. The period that we're looking at the moment is 1st July 2022 to 2023. And the purpose is that we're requesting PGS to note that Sasol Gas complied with Section 21(1)(p) in terms of the Gas Act over this period, and also that Sasol complied with Section 22 of the Gas Act by not unduly discriminating between its customers when charging actual prices. Now, Chair, from a monitoring perspective, Sasol did comply with 21.1p, as they did not, as they all the customers that were audited, the prices that they charged the customers was not above the maximum price over this period. And with regards to the Section 22, because they charged an amount that was a uniform price and there was no discrimination between its customers, they also complied with Section 22. So from a recommendation perspective, we recommend that the committee notes the report. Sasol didn't charge prices that are above. That they complied with Section 21.1p and also Section Section 22 the Gas Act. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, members. Any comments? Any areas of improvement on this submission by show of hands? I know Mr. Mkhize sent some of the annotations. Mr. Mkhize, do you have any specific input that you would like to make on this one? Okay, thank you very much. It seems there are no questions from the members. With that, then we go straight to the recommendations. On paragraph 14, the subcommittee is requested to note that Sasol Gas complied with the implementation of the maximum price in terms of Section 21.1p of the Gas Act for the period July 2022 to June 2023 by charging a gas energy price that is equal to the approved maximum price to all of its customers. Also to note that Sasol Gas complied with Section 22 as it did not unduly discriminate between its customers. By show of hands, members, if you then agree with that decision. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Ms. Mpungose, and thank you, Advocate Sithole. I also support it. Thank you very much, members. We step down on step off item number 9 of the agenda. We now go to item number 10, which is the report on developments in new gas sources in South Africa and the neighboring countries. Please take the members through this report.
Thank you, Chair. This is the report on development in new gas sources in South Africa and neighboring countries for the period from August to November 2023. Chair, the report outlines the development in important natural gas projects throughout Africa, with the emphasis on Southern Africa. In South Africa, Chair, we're seeing a renewed commitment to the development of the oil and gas resources from the government. They have announced that they want to start expediting the onshore and offshore oil and gas explorations. Key to that are discoveries such as the 3.1 billion cubic feet of natural gas by the Australian-based company Kinetico Energy in the Mpumalanga province. Part of that commitment by the government is reflected in the revised upstream petroleum development bill, which is anticipated to simplify the approval process for new oil and gas projects, replacing the cumbersome regulation from the outgoing bill. Previously, the legal loopholes made it nearly impossible to gain approval for new exploration activities, a situation that is expected to change with the updated legislation. The report also looks at the state of shale gas in the country and how the government is determined to push forward with the development in the Karoo. PASA has announced that it will soon approach the cabinet to try and have the moratorium on shale gas exploration lifted. The report also covers the development around the liquid helium gas and the progress that has been made by Renergen at its Virginia gas project in the Free State province. There's also progress on the green hydrogen front, where the eastern, the northern, and the Western Cape are uniting their effort in establishing South Africa as a global hub for green hydrogen. The collaboration will focus on critical areas such as infrastructure, skill development, policy, and regulation. So far, Chair, the Northern Cape has recently finalized its green hydrogen roadmap, forecasting potential investment ranging from 300 to 500 billion US dollars by 2050. Meanwhile, the focus for the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape is on transforming their respective special economic zones into production hubs for green hydrogen. Lastly, Chair, the report covers development in Mozambique's 5 major LNG projects: the 2 coral floating LNG projects, the Motola LNG project, the Rovuma LNG project, and the Total Energies Mozambique LNG project, which has faced several setbacks since its suspension in April 2021. Furthermore, the report covers activities in Namibia and the progress that has been made in the effort to develop the Kudu gas field. I will stop here, Chair. The report is here for noting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tiane, for that comprehensive and introduction of this submission and the highlights. Members, any questions, guidance, or areas of improvements? By show of hands, members, if you have any. All right. It seems, Mr. Mtiane, your introduction was well understood by the members and the highlights that you've made. Members, I would like to then take you to the recommendations. The recommendations are that the pipe gas subcommittee is requested to note. Oh, Mr. Mkize.
Yeah, Chairperson, I'm struggling with my hands here, but I just want to stress one thing. Some of the things, I appreciate the report first of all, but let us also be very tight in terms of being factually correct and articulating things accordingly. Like in 6.16, Namibia, although it's not necessarily a newcomer in terms of holding a promise that it's going to supply gas. You know about the Kudu gas for a long time. I think there was a commission, South Africa Namibia commission, in the same vein as the Mozambique South Africa commission, but this still did not materialize as was envisaged. So to give it a newcomer status, that for me will apply when the gas is actually flowing. And then also in terms of the prospects, sometimes the proximity geographically to Mozambique or any of our sister countries is of no effect actually, because you will find that other jurisdictions far away with financial muscles actually stand a better chance than ourselves in this regard. So if you can just to look at that. And the other thing, I think it will also help to talk of the developments with regard to legislative environments, because it then talks also to alignment sometimes when it affects gas, particularly when one look at Southern Africa. I will leave it at that, but it's more of an enhancement to say, if you can just look at this, but the report, as I said earlier on, is much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Advocate Stolle.
Thanks, Chairperson. Thanks to the presenter, and thanks for the report. Chair, I just thought that maybe now that we also have covered some of the neighboring countries, it may have missed us. There is also discoveries of gas in Tanzania. And maybe the team can just be put in contact with an ICP to just pick up on those developments and add them onto the report, because there is a lot of discoveries of gas in Tanzania that are planned to be supplying gas from Tanzania to the north of the continent and from Tanzania to the south of the continent. So if that can be added, so that as well, if we are to advise our government in terms of really taking up that opportunity of tapping into that gas coming into the country, and it is well documented in our report such that we can advise our government accordingly. Thank you, Chairperson. That's just the addition that I thought I should make and make the team aware if they're not aware of it. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Advocate Sithole. Mr. Mtiane, can you then just respond to, I think some of the input is just for enhancement, but you can respond to some input for clarification.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yes, we appreciate the contribution from Mr. Mkhize. We note all the input that he highlighted. But I just want to respond quickly to the issue of the discovery in Tanzania. I apologize, I didn't cover that, but we do cover Tanzania on a regular basis on when we do this update, and it's actually covered on the report, Chair. If you look at, let me just quickly go.
It's paragraph 6.129 on page. I think it's page 21. It's briefly covered there. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, it is there because we know that the project has been coming for a long time, and they've recently concluded the government agreements with developers. So there is some slight progress there, but we do cover that Tanzania LNG project regularly. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, then I would like to take you to the recommendations with the enhancements that were pointed out by Mr. Mkhize as well as Advocate Sithole, also just to look at the Tanzanian developments in terms of gas. The recommendations are that the Pipe Gas Subcommittee is requested to note the report on the developments in new gas sources in South Africa and neighboring countries for the period August to November 2023. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize, and thank you, Ms. Mpongose. Thank you very much, members. We now considering item number 11 on the agenda, which is the report on monitoring of Sasol gases compliance with the approved tariffs for the period 1st July 2022 until 30 June 2023. Please take the report as having been read.
Thank you, Chair. This is an annual report that NERSA does to monitor Sasol's compliance with approved tariff. For this report is specifically for the period 1st July 2022 to 30 June 2023. The report also, what the report does, Chair, is that we test Sasol's compliance with Section 4H of the Gas Act, as well as the compliance with Section 22 of the Gas Act. What's also key is also the compliance with the regulatory instruction to pass through the tariff in proportion of each GTA as expressed as a percentage of the total transported in terms of each GTA respectively. What is to note, Chair, is that over this period, Sasol did comply with Section 4H of the Gas Act as they charged their customers the transmission tariff that was equal to the approved tariff of 7.61 in Gauteng, 20.34 Rand in the Mpumalanga region, and 7.82 in the KwaZulu-Natal region. They also complied with Section 22 the Gas Act, as they did not unduly discriminate between customers over this period. There was also compliance with the energy regulator's instruction as they passed through a tariff that was in proportion of each GTA. What is also what is notably or from what is expected was the Zone 2 tariff still continues to be high. And this is purely driven by the volumes that you'll see on table 4 that what's been transported in the country seems to be decreasing year on year. With that being said, Chair, the recommendations are on number 14, and thank you, Chair. For the committee to note the report. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. Thank you very much. Members, any questions, comments on this report regarding the nature and the extent of compliance by Sasol for the tariffs? By show of hands, members, if you have any. If not, members, I would like to then take you to the recommendations. The recommendations are that Sasol, the subcommittee is requested to note Sasol's Gas's compliance with Section 4H of the Gas Act, which is the section that empowers NERSA to approve, monitor, and regulate tariffs. And Sasol complied with the tariffs that were approved, which is the 7.61 per gigajoule for Gauteng. Mr. Mkhize, I'm not sure if this is approval or it's a comment.
Approval.
Okay, thank you. And then also Sasol Gas has complied with Section 22, and Sasol Gas complied with the energy regulator approach for the pass-through tariffs from ROMCO. By show of hands, members, if you then note those 3 decisions. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Stolle, and thank you, Ms. Bongase. I also support the noting thereof. The second, the next report is the monitoring of compliance with the approved maximum price of gas. This time it is for Kwande Gas Pty Ltd. Please introduce the report.
Thank you, Chairperson. Before the committee is a report for monitoring for Kwande Gas, monitoring for the period 1 July 2022 to 30 June 2023. We are monitoring it in terms of Section 21(1)(p), which seeks to ensure that the licensee does not charge the price that is above the approved maximum price. In this case, the maximum price was 175.79 per gigajoule. In table 2, we outline how Kwande has actually implemented the approved maximum price, which is below, they've charged their customer below what was approved. Then Section 22 seeks to ensure that the licensees do not discriminate between its customers or classes of its customers when they are implementing the approved maximum price. In this case, since Kwande has got only one a customer, then they also complied with Section 22. I would like to request the Pipe Gas Committee, Subcommittee, to note the report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any comments or input on this report for Kwande? A show of hands, members, if you have any. If not, members, I would then want to take you to the recommendations on paragraph 14. The subcommittee is requested to note that Kwande gas complied with the maximum prices of gas, which is in line with Section 21(1)(p) of the Gas Act, and also that it did not discriminate and therefore complied with Section 22. By show of hands, members, if you agree with that decision. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. Thank you, Advocate Stolle. Thank you, Ms. Pungose. I also support. Thank you very much, members. We now move on to agenda item number 13, which is the report on the monitoring of Novo Energy's compliance with the approved maximum price of gas. Please take the report as read and highlight the areas of importance for the members.
Thank you, Chairperson. The report is for monitoring Novo's energy compliance with the approved maximum price for the period 1 July 2022 to 30 June 2023. Chair, the purpose of the report is for noting by the members. The report monitors Novo's compliance with Section 21(1)(p) as well as Section 22 of the Gas Act. Chair, the analysis of Novo's compliance with Section 21(1)(p) of the Gas Act shows that they complied with Section 21(1)(p) by charging all their customers actual prices that were below the approved maximum price of 2.68 rand, 21 per gigajoules for the period under review. And Chairperson, this is depicted under Table 2 of the report. In terms of their compliance with Section 22 of the Gas Act, again, Chair, the analysis shows that Novo complies with Section 22 as it did not unduly discriminate between its customers, and the analysis is under Table 3. Chair, it is therefore requested that members note the report, and the recommendation are on page 12. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members, any comments, input on this submission? By show of hands, members, if there's any. If not, members, I would like to then take you to the recommendations on paragraph 14 of the submission. The subcommittee is requested to note that Novo Energy complied with Section 21(1)(p) of the Gas Act by charging its customers the price that is below the approved maximum price for the period July 2022 until June 2023, and also to note that Novo Energy complied with Section 22 of the Gas Act as it has not discriminated against its customers for the same period. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Advocate Sitole. Thank you, Ms. Mbongose. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. I also support the decision. We now move on, members, to item number 14, which is the report on the monitoring of Egoli Gas's compliance with the approved maximum price of gas. Please introduce the report and highlight the areas that the members of the subcommittee need to pay attention to.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. The report is for monitoring of Egoli Gas's compliance with the approved maximum price of gas for the period 1 July 2022 to 30 June 2023. The report is for noting by members, Chairperson. The report monitor Egoli Gas compliance with Section 21(1)(p) as well as Section 22 of the Gas Act. Chair, in terms of their compliance with Section 21(1)(p), Table 2 of the report compares the approved maximum price of R150.31 gigajoules for the period under review to the actual prices charged by Egoli Gas to all its customers. And it shows that Egoli Gas complied with Section 21(1)(p) of the Gas Act because it's charged all its customers for the period under review actual prices that were below the approved maximum price for the period. Chairperson, in terms of their compliance with Section 22 of the Gas Act, we analyze all the information provided. And Table 3 of the report provide analysis of their compliance in terms of a price charge by volume consumption. And the results also shows that Egoli Gas complies with Section 22 of the Gas Act, as it did not unduly discriminate between its customers when charging price for the period under review. Chairperson, the recommendations are on page 11. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the introduction. Members, the submission is before you for any comments or input. If you can then raise your hands, members, if you have any. If none, members, may I then take you to the recommendations. Recommendations are on paragraph 14 of the submission, which is on page 11. The Pipe Gas Subcommittee is requested to note that Egoli Gas complied with Section 211P of the Gas Act by charging its customers prices that are below the approved maximum price, and therefore did not exceed the approved maximum price, and that Egoli Gas complied with Section 22 of the Gas Act, as it did not embark on discriminatory pricing between its customers for the same period. By show of hands, members. Thank you, Ms. Mpungose. Thank you, Advocate Stole. I also support Kabazela. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Thank you, members. We then move on, members, to item number 15. Item number 15 is the submission focusing on the progress made in terms of the GIS and the status of licensed gas infrastructure. Please take us through the report.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning. The submission is reporting on the status of the licensed gas infrastructure with reference to data that is being captured, stored, and visualized using the GIS system. So if you look at the deliberations on paragraphs 6, you'll see that the first item there is just accounting for the number of license applications that were approved since 2021 to the current financial year, with 2023-2024 seeing 4 license applications being approved. So, and then Table 2 also gives the details of the 4 license applications that were approved this financial year, with 2 being approved in the first quarter and the 2 being approved in the second quarter. If you continue with the deliberations, you will actually see the analysis of the status of the piped gas network. If you look at the first figure there, it's actually comparing the number of consumers that stopped taking gas since 2018 to the number of consumers that were, or rather the customer stations that were commissioned since 2018. You'll see that in 2019, we can say the pipe gas industry was doing well in terms of the balance in the number of customer stations that were commissioned and decommissioned, because we're seeing a tie of 4 there. But if we continue with to 2020, 2021, you will see that there is actually a major gap between the customers that were commissioned that year and the customer stations that were decommissioned, with the highest number of customers being customer station being decommissioned in 2021 and 2020. That was during the COVID-19 period. We can say it is evident that it also had an impact on the pipe gas industry. So if we continue with the report, the members can actually see the allocation of active consumers per licensed area. I'm not going to go through that. I've taken that you have read the report. And then also We've also now captured information on registered facilities. And then you will see that a lot of these registered facilities are in Limpopo. If you look at figure 8 and 9, you will see that most of these facilities are in Limpopo and KwaZulu-Natal. However, if you look at the heat map that is showing the volumes of production of the biogas specifically, you will see that Limpopo has actually the list of the biogas production, and then Gauteng and Western Cape has the most production of the biogas. And also another thing that we can notice on the graphs is that Northwest has only one registered activity, but then in terms of volume, it has almost 222,000 gigajoules per annum that is registered. So some of these registered facilities may be concentrated in some areas, but the production in terms of volume is low. So, Chairperson, considering that the members of the subcommittee have actually read the document, I think you can open it up for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that summary. I think it's a useful summary. Members, any input, any comments on this, and also on the emergence of the production of biogas, but also the good thing is that the system is able to even pick up on the impact that the COVID-19 had in terms of the activities in the industry. And as some customers had to disconnect, and also the issue of decommissioning. So I think it's quite useful. Members, any other comments from your side? Concerns? If none, members, I would like to then, Mr. Mkhize.
Thanks, Chairperson, and thanks, Madam David. I think it would be improper for me not to commend the work that has been done, noting that I've been very vocal around the issues of GIS. And I think also there are some few things that you need to consider. The increasing product theft in the country will require that there be some stringent measures taken around the treatment of information as confidential and the safeguarding thereof. I think that is one of the key things that is important. Two is that let this be done across, and I think it will help if maybe before the end of the financial year there can be a demonstration, because we must go beyond just saying that you've got the GIS. We must see how it's been applied and what outcome then it gives as an advantage to the organization. And two, for improved regulation, effective regulation, for me, that is important. So I think that we need to go beyond just having the system, look at the application, and how then as an authority, we do have data that people can seek. Because one of the problems in the country is simple thing, data. You need to get data for South Africa, but you must go to the US and get the data. It's not right in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize, for that input, and I'm hoping that the GLC team takes notes of this, but obviously this thing is also, it has to do with the resources and also gradually getting into that point of having information that is generated through the GIS as part of the database, and how we can actually build that for the whole organization. I think it's something that perhaps can also be discussed with the IT team or even at the ITGC to say what is the roadmap, where are we heading, and what is the time period. But that does not stop you from then looking into the impact per industry, at the moment, as you have done, but we need to sort of upgrade and get to a point where now this can actually work for the whole of NERSA, but also to generate information that we can put in our website for people to be able to access that information. I think that's the essence of also what Mr. Mkhize is trying to say. But obviously that will require some resources and also maybe some plan that will also be discussed with the ITGC and see what is it that can be done perhaps in phases and plan accordingly. So I just want to stress that, and it is something that Mr. Mkhize has been pointing out. All right, members, with that, I would like to then take members to the recommendations. The recommendations are on paragraph 14. The Pipe Gas Subcommittee is requested to note the update that has been done on the GIS regarding the licensed gas infrastructure, just to update what is there, what has been removed, and what is the impact. And then also to note the status of the updated licensed pipe gas network. And thirdly, to note the integration of the gas registration information on the GIS, which is also a good thing, because now it shows some of these biogas projects that are taking place in different provinces, which NERSA registered them in terms of Section 28. I think it's also a very good development here. Thank you very much. Members, by show of hands, if you're happy to note all of those three decisions. Thank you, Ms. Mpongose. Thank you, Advocate Sithole. I also support the decision. Grabe? Mr. Mkhize, are you happy to note?
Supported.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you, members. We now move on to item number 16, which is the monitoring of the gas volumes coming from Mozambique through the in terms of the agreement for the month of October 2023. Can you please introduce the report and the key highlights?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Chairperson. The purpose of the submission is to request Pipe Gas Subcommittee to note the Sasol gas volume report for October 2023. The expected monthly volume to South African markets in terms of gas transmission agreement, GTA 1, GTA 2, and GTA 3, is about 13.4 million gigajoules. And when factoring the volumes from other two importers, Kwande Gas and Sasol South Africa, it becomes 13.6 million gigajoules per month. During October 2023, Sasol imported approximately 13.8 million gigajoules of natural gas to the South African markets. Imported volume is above the expected 13.6 million gigajoules monthly volumes required to meet the expected 13.3 million gigajoules annual gas volumes in terms of the GTAs and GSA to the importers. The percentage variance for October as negative 0.163%, which is not within the acceptable limits of the agreed international benchmarks of 1%. It is recommended that Pipe Gas Subcommittee note the gas volume, the following: the monthly gas, the amount of gas delivered to South Africa during September 2023, and the volume variance as depicted in paragraph 14 of the submission. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maluka. Members, any questions, comments on this submission? By show of hands, members, if you have any questions on the volumes that Sasol Gas brought into the country from Mozambique for the month of October. If none, members, may I then take you to the recommendations for the decision that is required from the subcommittee. The the recommendations are on paragraph 14. The subcommittee is requested to note the monthly gas volume balance report for October 2023. That is the gas that is delivered into South Africa from Mozambique by Sasol Gas. And secondly, that ROMCO has delivered 13.6 million to Sasol Gas during October, and also 43,000 gigajoules to Kwande during October. And it has also delivered 169,849,000 gigajoules to Sasol South Africa during the month of October. And that the volume variance for October is minus 1.63, which is then acceptable. The amount of 13.8 million gigajoules delivered during the month of October is reasonable, and in terms of meeting the expected annual contractual obligations of the importers of gas, and also all of the gas transportation agreements by ROMCO. And that information is summarized on table 3 by show of hands, members, if you agree with the decision required. Thank you, Ms. Mpongose. Thank you, Mr. Mkize. Advocate Sithole, are you happy to support the decision? Thank you, Advocate Sithole. I also support. That was item number 16. We now move on to item number 17, analysis of natural gas price trends from the first to the third quarter of the year. Rar, please introduce the report and highlight the key implications of this submission.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, members. Good morning, colleagues. This report, Madam Chair, presents an analysis of natural gas price trends over the period January 2023 to September 2023, in line with the recommendations that were made by the subcommittee in March, after the price discovery research report was presented, that we need to monitor global price trends and probably how they have an impact on the South African natural gas price trajectory. Madam Chair, we'll take this report as read and just present to you the fundamental factors that have driven the price trends as depicted in table 1 on page 8 of the report. The global gas market has remained very tight, although much better than the year 2022. It has still remained volatile and sensitive to geopolitical risk and supply constraints, given supply disruptions that have been caused by the Russia-Ukraine conflict on one hand, and disruptions also on the supply side of alternatives that were now substituting Russian piped gas, particularly from the North Sea gas fields that are run by Norway, which has now emerged to be the key supplier of the European market to the tune of about 54%. And also North Africa, that is then substituted to a larger extent and covered the supply gap, particularly in the Mediterranean Europe side. Madam Chair, the market has also been observed to be volatile as a result of labor market disturbances that we have been noted in Australia, particularly from the month of July to September, where you can actually see a month-on-month general increase in regional prices, across the Pacific as well as the Atlantic basins. The African netback prices have also responded in the same fashion. Madam Chair, if you go straight to table 1 on page 8, we have then factored in the effect of the decision that has been made on the Sasol maximum price, which has also affected the South African price regime from July onwards, as a result of the shift from hub price referencing to the cost-based regime. Overall, Madam Chair, you see that prices have risen marginally month on month from July to September, although the year on year, in general, global price benchmarks have declined by more than 40%, despite the impact and sensitivity to geopolitical risk and other supply and demand factors that are driving price formation. Madam Chair, on table 1, if you compare the South African price trajectory to other African prices, you would see that the trend has shown a general decline. But of course, after July, if you note the prices that are in parentheses there that are representing now the impact of the Sasol decision on its maximum price, you'd see that our prices are much, much lower than what we see in other regional markets at wholesale level. And the figures that are depicted in table 1 are now shown through figures from figure 1 to figure 5, where you can see a general trend where prices are declining on a year-on-year basis. Madam Chair, we therefore recommend the noting of this analysis of natural gas price trends from January to September 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the comprehensive introduction. Members, the report is before you for comment input. By show of hands, members. Any input, members? Any comments on this report? Okay, if none, members, I would like to take you to the recommendation on paragraph 14. It is recommended that the Pipe Gas Subcommittee notes the analysis of natural gas price trends and the causes of these trends for the period January to September 2023. By show of hands, members, if you're happy to note that analysis and the submission. Thank you, Ms. Mpungose. Thank you, Advocate Sitole. I also support Mr. Mkhize. Happy to support the decision.
I'm happy to support the decision, but I just need to stress that, now that you've analyzed so hard, I think it's important to, in the recommendation, to also include the recommendation as to what the entity then needs to do to be able to respond to this or better manage the situation. What are the implications in terms of the substance of the report? I think that is important, but I do support if that element could be included in future reports, because then it tells us what we ought to do that is going to be in the best interest of the country, taking into consideration our unique situation as a country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. If we can add that, the significance of the analysis and the implications thereof, if you can add that, Mr. Mutsao, it will be appreciated as directed by the subcommittee. Thank you very much, members. We then step off this agenda item, and it is actually the last item to be deliberated in the open part of the meeting. At this point, I would like then to thank all of the members of the public or stakeholders that were following the proceedings of this meeting, showing interest in the NERSA affairs and the decision-making processes of NERSA.